What's going on, everybody? All right, you know that one of the things I love doing is keeping tabs on the market, seeing what's selling, what's not selling, seeing if there are trends in what's selling, seeing what trends are with expensive purchases, but also the everyday collector budget. The cards under $50. What cards under $50 are selling? What are they selling for? And is there anything happening? Now, remember last month, it was kind of crazy to me that there were so many Willie Mays cards during August. No, during August that were available and selling for under $50. And we're talking about Willie Mays. Blew my mind, completely blew my mind. Well, now we're taking a look at September. Remember, we're always a month behind because I need the month to end before I can go and start looking at what things were selling. So we are looking at September purchases here. And there is absolutely a couple of trends that I saw. One of the trends that I saw were with the cards under $50. So again, 40 of these sales are under $50. Certainly I saw something that caught my attention and is clearly a trend. The other thing is the cards that were the big moonshot sales. Those moonshot sales, I saw a trend as well. Now, it might just be me. I don't think it's just me. I mean, that's the difference between looking at actual final sale prices and just anecdotal, what does this dealer think, or what are people seeing at shows? These are actual purchases. And I think that by keeping track of what's happening in the affordability and the expensive cards, it tells us what's happening with the market as a whole. So I think that you're really going to be interested at what we see as a trend this month. First, though, remember, if you have not filled out the form for your Captain Midlife card, do that because we are starting to run low. And again, it's the first 250 that I have the supplies for. They'll be mailed to your house for free. All you have to do is in the description down below, fill out the Google form. And it just asks you for basically your name, your address. Do you want me to sign it or not sign it? And I will get those out this weekend. Now, remember, that is courtesy of my friend Isaac at the Penny Sleever. And the way to thank them is because, remember, by the way, this semi-rigid that the card's going to come in here, the Captain Midlife card, that is a Penny Sleever semi-rigid. And then the top loader that you're going to get a Mr. Penny Sleever card in is a Penny Sleever top loader. So you can see the quality of their product. And the way to give them a shout out and say thanks is the next time you order supplies, just go through thepennysleever.com. Remember, they also are including on the back of the Mr. Penny Sleever card a promo code midlife that you can use at thepennysleever.com. All right, guys, let's take a look this month's sales and see what trends we see which 5 sales blew my mind, and yes, the 10 moonshot deals from the month that were some massive purchases and additions to somebody's collection. Let's take a look. All right, first card. How about a 1969 Topps Joe Namath in an SGC 5? That is a sweet card. Again, I love the 69 Topps football cards. That went for $49 last month for a Joe Namath. Beautiful in an SGC 5. That seems cheap. Look at this. Another football card already. How about a 1969 Topps Bart Starr in an SGC 6? $48.87 for the SGC 6 Bart Starr. Super, super cool card with the green background and everything. Next up, we got a 64 Topps Willie Mays and a PSA 3. That's sold for $48. I know sometimes people say, oh, Greg, the eye appeal's low on some of these. The centering's bad on these. That's a good eye appeal card. Really well centered for $48 of Willie Mays, one of the all-time greats. Next up, another Willie Mays. Now, it's not going to have a ton of Willie Mays today, but there are a few. This is a 1969 Topps Willie Mays in an SGC 4. Again, pretty well centered and pretty darn good eye appeal if you ask me, for $47.90 on that beautiful 67 Willie Mays. Next up, now this card is very cool. The 63 Topps NL Home Run Leaders. 5 Hall of Famers on one card and an SGC 5 from a tough, condition-wise, 63 Topps set. $47 on that card. How many cards have 5 Hall of Famers on it? Well, there it is. Next, the 64 Topps Hank Aaron. A Hank Aaron base card. Again, I tried to pick high eye appeal cards. Look at the centering on this. $47 for the SGC 3 64 Topps Hank Aaron. High eye appeal, beautiful card of one of the best hitters ever. And we got another Hank Aaron, this time a 62 Topps. Again, I know that's a 3. I think the grading standards, we all agree, are getting tougher. So when you see a card like this, it's not a dog. It's a nice card for $46.88 for the 62 Topps Hank Aaron All-Star card. Next up, how about a possible future Hall of Famer, Dick Allen, the 1964 Topps in an SGC 5. A lot of people think he is at the very top of the short list of potential Hall of Famers through the Veterans Committee. That card went for $46.59. We got another Hank Aaron, and this one is a 67 Topps Hank Aaron in an SGC 3, sold for $46. I mean, sure, that one's not perfectly centered, but $46 for that card. Look at the color on it. I think it has great eye appeal, and 3 grades are pretty decent cards. How about a 61 Topps World Series game number 2 featuring Mickey Mantle slamming 2 home runs? So you got a card with Mickey Mantle and a World Series for $46. Yeah, that blows my mind. That was my first mind-blowing pick of the month. Next, how about a 1961 stamp of Hank Aaron? These are cool. The 61 Topps stamp cards I like a lot. They're very affordable. This Hank Aaron in a PSA 5 sold for $43.77. It's a cool way to get something a little bit unique of some of the all-time greats for an affordable price. How about a 67 Topps Roberto Clemente in a PSA 3? Again, that's pretty good eye appeal in my eyes. Those 3 grades are kind of a sweet spot. 3s and 4s. Nice looking cards, but super affordable. $43.12 on that Roberto Clemente. How about a 66 Topps Sandy Koufax in an SGC 3? Again, that sweet spot of 3 and 4 you're going to see quite a bit today. Sandy Koufax, probably the best left-handed pitcher of all time. Now, I know a few people just threw their phones into the wall, but that's okay. $42 on that Sandy Koufax card. How about a 61 Topps AL Home Run Leaders in an SGC 5? Really well-centered, really beautiful card. And again, it's got Mantle and some other really good players on it, but cards with Mantle on them with 5 grades from the early 60s seems like they should be more than $42. How about a 1968 Topps Roberto Clemente in an SGC 3? That sold for $41. You can see a little off center side to side, but again, that 3 grade shows up once again. But it's Roberto Clemente. And speaking of, how about his 64 Topps Giant card? This one in an SGC 5.5. That's a spectacular card. It is an oversized card, which means it's more expensive to grade, which makes the $41 an even more reasonable price, if you ask me. Now, again, we see Dick Allen, this time in SGC 7. Look at how beautiful this card is. This is his 3rd year card, the 2nd card of him solo. $41 for an SGC 7 Dick Allen card that looks just about perfectly centered. If he makes the Hall of Fame, that card would go through the roof. We got another football card. I think you're starting to see a theme. A 1961 Topps Johnny Unitas in an SGC 5.5. Now remember, his rookie card is in the 57 set, so this is very early in his career. It's a 5.5, $40. Vintage football cards are crazy cheap, and apparently are getting cheaper. How about a 1960 Topps Master and Mentor, a card with Willie Mays on it, and a PSA 7. It's a newer grade. It's a newer slab, a newer serial number, $39. That's a super sharp card for $39. How about an Elgin Baylor? Now, Elgin Baylor played most of his career in that stretch where there weren't a lot of cards. So he has the 61 Fleer rookie. And then his next card is the 69 Topps. And this is an SGC 5 for $36.35. How about another 69 Topps? Again, these tall boys are more expensive to grade. And this Jerry West sold for $36 in an SGC 4.5. Jerry West's rookie card is 61. Doesn't have another card until 69. Kind of crazy. We got a Hall of Fame rookie card in the Joe Morgan. Now, there were several of these that sold during the month, but this one looked to have really high eye appeal, really good centering, and it was under $35, coming in at $34.85 for a Joe Morgan rookie card. If you're a Hall of Fame rookie card collector, how can you pass on that? How about a third-year Topps Gale Sayers in an SGC 6.5? Mind-blowing to me that it sold for $34.47. 47 cents, sorry. I mean, this is Gale Sayers, and it's his third card for under $35. Sure, $5 to ship it on top of that. Still, how about the 1965 Topps World Series game number 3? You got another card with Mantle, this time talking about his clutch home run, in a 5 grade for $34. Mantle cards. If you're a Mantle collector putting together a Mantle run, you're going to need these cards, and it's under $35. How about a 64 Sandy Koufax in an SGC 3.5? That one blows my mind as well. I mean, I could have picked 15 this month, but this blew my mind. Sandy Koufax, 1964. It's a beautiful picture of him. How about another football card? Football is the theme of the month. Some crazy great deals on football cards, and it's early in football season. How about a 69 Topps Larry Zonka rookie card, Hall of Fame rookie card, in a 5? It's tough to get good grades in the 69 set, $34. We got another card that has Mays. He continues to be pretty cheap, not as cheap as last month. A 64 Topps Giant Gunners, also has Orlando Cepeda, another Hall of Famer. And this was a PSA 5, super nice looking card, $32.13. That didn't used to happen. It's happening now. How about a 1968 Topps base card of Hank Aaron in an SGC 3? Now, this one's fairly off-center, maybe 70-30, 75-25, something like that. But it's still Hank Aaron. It's still from the 1960s. And if it's off-center with a 3, that means the rest of it's pretty nice. And how about a 68 Topps Hank Aaron All-Star 2? This sold for $31. This one is really nice eye appeal. The SGC 4.5 card, well-centered, clean colors, $31 for Hank Aaron. How about another football card? This is crazy to me. A 69 Topps Gale Sayers in an SGC 5. Mind-blowing, for sure, that it sold for $29. To me, the 69 Topps Gale Sayers is his coolest card. $29 in a 5. All right, we got a 67 Topps NL RBI leaders in a PSA 5. Look at the guys on this card. We got Hank Aaron, we got Roberto Clemente, and Dick Allen in the PSA 5 grade for $29. $29 for some big names on that beautiful card. Next, we've got another football card, a 68 Topps Dick Butkus in an SGC 6. Now, the Butkus rookie card is in the 66 Philadelphia set, so this is his third card in an SGC 6, really well centered, $26.77 plus $5 shipping. Look at this cool card. How about a 63 Topps Roger Maris in the Yankee hat, the SGC 4.5, well-centered card. I mean, that's a sharp-looking card. And it came in at $26. Only 6 bids. $26 on that card. Look at this one. We got a 68 Topps Johnny Unitas. So a Johnny Unitas in a 5.5 sold for a whopping $25.82. By far the most great football cards that have come in under $50 that I've seen since I started doing this a year ago. The 62 Topps AL home run leaders in an SGC 2. Look at that. You got Mantle, you got Maris, you got Killebrew. Super cool card there. It is just an SGC 2, but again, it's got Mantle. And those cards will always have at least some demand. Then we got a 64 Philadelphia Johnny Unitas in an SGC 5. And look at the eye appeal on that card. That one blows my mind as well at $22.27. Keep in mind, it's $15 to get these cards graded. A 61 Topps NL batting leaders. Look at this. We got Clemente, we got Mays, and it's an SGC 5. It's really, really well centered, and it's $22.23. That is wild. Beautiful card there. Great card to go in anyone's collection. How about a 61 Post Serial Whitey Ford in an SGC 4? That's a sharp-looking card. If you're looking for kind of a oddball set from the early 60s with some all-time greats that's affordable, the 61 Post, there's a few Post sets in there. That was $21.50. Another one that has grown a lot in price, gone way up, but this one snuck through, is the 64 Topps stand-ups. This is Orlando Cepeda in an SGC 2.5. Look at this, $13. Less than it costs to get the card graded. And finally, the 40th, a 1968 Topps Bart Starr, a really well-centered SGC 4, and this card came in at $10.50. What is with vintage football this month? It's never been like this. There was so much cheap vintage football. All right, let's look at some of the big purchases and see what trends we see there. So these are the September moonshots, the big sales. First, how about a 69 Topps Lou Alcindor in a PSA 7? Gorgeous card. Sold for $4,500 on the nose, on bids. And, if you think of iconic all-time basketball cards, that has to be on the short list, doesn't it? Now we got a high grade, a super high grade are still selling for lots. This is a 67 Topps Hank Aaron in a PSA 9. And it sold for $5,100. High grades are selling for lots still. If that card was in a 3, it would be $40, but instead it's $5,100. We got a 61 Fleer Wilt Chamberlain in action. So that 61 Fleer set, this is a rookie card technically. It's a PSA 8.5, sold for $5,700. Really well centered, which is very difficult in that year's set. Now look at this card, a 66 Topps NL batting leaders. Again, the high grade selling for a lot. I've seen this card in the under 50 sales before, but this one's a PSA 9 and sold for $6,602. Mays, Aaron, and Clemente. What a card. We've got a 68 Topps. I couldn't just put Nolan Ryan because when my buddy Mookie sees this, he always reminds us That Kuzman's on there too. It's a Kuzman Ryan rookie and a PSA 8 for just under $8,000. Look at the centering and how sharp that card is. Would love to have one of those. Then we've got a 61 Topps Mickey Mantle. This is autographed. The card got a 5.5 grade from PSA. The auto got a 10 grade. And it's a super beautiful card from a very important year. And $8,017. The 68 Topps Mickey Mantle, also a PSA 9. See the trend that's happening here? $8,401 for the PSA 9 Mickey Mantle. Yes, all 10 of the moonshot cards this month were in PSA holders. PSA is still commanding the highest premium on the highest grades. This time we got a 64 Topps Mickey Mantle in a PSA 8.5, sold for $9,101 on a Probstein auction. Well-centered card. That's a gorgeous year card for Mantle. And then we got the late Pete Rose, a 63 Topps in a PSA 8, sold for $9,499. Again, one of the more iconic cards of the 60s, if not. I mean, that and the Ryan are probably the two most iconic cards from the 60s, right? And then look at this one. A 1968 Topps Superstars autographed. PSA 4 on the card, 9 on the autograph. It's got an autograph of Killebrew and Mays and Mantle. What a card is that? Couple of autos, several high grades. They all were PSA. I wasn't just picking PSA. I was looking for SGC ones too, but none really caught my eye like these. And when I got done picking them, I said, wait a sec. Those are all PSA, which I think tells a bit of a story, doesn't it? That the high-grade PSA stuff and the high-price stuff continues to be in PSA holders. SGC's catching up, but it doesn't seem like they're quite there yet.